All right. So I did drugs for like I think a whole year when I first met. Yeah, after meeting this guy, right?
Mhm.
But during that year, I think a few months prior, I left school because I then felt like I didn't need to be here. I didn't understand the purpose of even being at school. So I had no interest or whatsoever in being in school.
Mm.
So I left school, right? My parents tried to stop me there, but it just didn't work. It moves on and on and on, and then I leave home.
One in five people that you meet is addicted to something, be it psychedelics, gambling, pornography, gaming, and so on and so forth. And how unfortunate it is that as a society, we don't shine enough light on such situations. There's nothing as excruciating as a lot of parents and families are sitting out there and looking as their loved ones are deteriorating in front of their very eyes. There are honestly no words that can do justice to how hard other people are having it out there. Would it make you feel better if you knew that you're not alone? That some of the problems in which you're going through right now, there's someone who has been there and they've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. Hey, maybe you don't believe that. For as an ill person, all that you want from the medicine now is the healing and none of its taste. I hope that you heal from the things you don't talk about. Through such conversations that we have with people who have been through those very situations, I hope that you are able to find healing and know that you're not alone in this. Today, my guest usisi Sibongile Mazibuko. Sawubona sis.
Yep, fine.
Ngiyabheka. uh, Today's a rather personal interview for me.
Yeah.
Sibongile Mazibuko is an author.
Yeah.
And through some of your life experiences, you turned them into the novel in which you actually wrote about.
Yes.
You actually wrote them in your novel,
Yes.
with the hope of trying to help other people that are actually on that journey in which you were there as well.
Yeah.
And I hope that through today's conversation, people are gonna know that you're not shining any light on these things. However, what you're trying to do is that you're trying to show people that it is possible. Because from the horse's mouth, we say, you've been there as well. So as I've made mention that for me today is a rather personal interview, for I too have battled with addiction, and I know very well the relapses in which I had, though I'll not make mention what I was addicted to, right? But I too personally have faced addiction, and I know how hard it is, how it messed up with my mind, my mental health, and all of that. So I hope that through today's conversation, I too get to learn. I too get to heal from the things that no one even my family doesn't know would see. I went through addiction, you know. So I hope that through today's conversation, Sister Sibongile, from your story, I'll get to know that I'm not crazy, because from the amount of times where I relapsed and tried my best, ngabuyela relapse, I always felt that I'm crazy.
Yeah.
So through to this conversation, I want to feeling that someone else has been there. And yes, I've made it out, but there's a part of me which is like, I always beat myself up for the things in which I did. So I just hope Uguti, through today's conversation, I'll be able to find healing, and I'll also get to see Uguti, I am not alone in this as well. So today we'll be discussing a very, 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 very touchy subject, because this is a national crisis, and it's a world crisis rather.
Yeah.
For a lot of families, they excruciatingly watch their loved ones go through this journey of psychedelics, and some of them never make it back. And unfortunately, even those that make it back, they're no longer the person that we know when they left here. And we spoke the last time, and I loved what you said to me, Guti. At times we focus mainly on the person who's using, not
Yeah.
knowing the effects that the person who's using is
Yes.
having on the family. To say that the muntu ophe mama drugs affect yena one, even the family as well is being affected. So there's someone who's watching this for the first time, right? Who's like, yes, I know you wrote a book, and hey, I too, we were dealing with this. Maybe it's a siblings or a spouse of mine, or a loved one is going through this. I want to know a bit more about you, Sister Sibongile, because it's important for the other person who's sitting on the other end of the screen to actually get to know. Because you know what happens with us, we get to see the finished product. We get to see you now having written the book and being
Yeah.
this wonderful woman that you are. We didn't get to see you at your lowest level.
Yeah.
So can I kindly know a little bit about your background, as to say ukuthi wakhulele emzini onjani? How was your upbringing growing up?
So I am born and bred in Johannesburg, in Nhlala Eloli. So I attended my primary, Adel Primary, and attended my high school in Annandale, in Delview.
Mhm.
Yeah, my upbringing was quite uh just like any other child, just chilled,
Mhm.
nothing much, nothing hectic.
So how's the climate in Ndlini?
Yeah.
Climate in terms of your economical state, Ekhaya. How was that, Ekhaya?
Not bad.
Mhm.
It was livable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You were able to survive. So do you have any siblings?
Yes, I do. I have a twin brother.
You have a twin brother.
Mhm.
A twin brother.
Yes.
Because with me, it really happens that you find twins, which is a grandpa. And I've always
Yeah.
wondered in my head as to say, isebenza kanjani le nto? Because you're a girl and he's a guy. He won't be playing with dolls when you're playing with dolls.
Of course.
So the relationship between you guys, being Johnny, growing up.
It was good. Having a twin, it's like absolutely different from what people make it seem like it is, right? It's just like having, a brother or a sister. But like I mentioned, he is like a big brother to me, and just like a sister. So I do look up to him a lot.
The purpose of me asking these questions, the thing is with us as a typical guy from the hood, with all the cases, with all the people that I got to see who were addicts,
Yeah.
are the ones that are coming from families in which they were not treated well. They're those that are coming from families in which they were treated badly.
Mm.
Therefore, those drugs created some sort of escape for them. Hence they ended up using.
Right.
So I'm asking this because I want to know about your background,
Yeah.
and with hopes of finding out ukuthi kahle kahle wakhula kanjani. Hence I'm asking about your economical state. Uthola ukuthi because of that, uthola ukuthi where you come from at home, the environment was not as welcoming, or was not as comfortable.
Yeah.
Hence you had certain problems that led you to using psychedelics. So how was your relationship with your parents? And I'm asking this because I want to understand your background, is to say your upbringing, Bebe Injan. So how was your relationship with your parents, as you're twins, and
Yeah.
did you have a closest bond with your mom?
Yeah, I could describe our relationship as solid. Reason being, it has just been me and my brother. So we, as Sikabaning Indian, it's just the four of us. So we would get like the proper attention, the proper care. So yeah, my relationship with my parents is quite solid. It's quite a good one.
Yeah, because you and your twin brother are the same age, obviously.
We are.
And you've made mention here, which you've always looked at him as an elder brother.
Yes.
Right? So meaning, Guti, there were certain things in which he was able to do better than you actually did.
True.
Right? So has that ever caused any tension between you guys, or have ever made you feel small? Let's just say that I think I cannot do what he does. So with that, it makes you feeling that you're not good enough at times.
I think in more than one way, we are different. In more than just being male and female. But I think more than anything, I do admit and acknowledge the fact that we are different people, in terms of character, in terms of how we do things, right? And I do admit that I was, they call them the black ships, right?
Yeah.
I was the one who's, yeah, but he's been quite disciplined, which is why I say I looked up to him. I still do.
In what way? Because I want to understand this from a broader perspective, right? To say because with me I have an older brother as well, and I've looked up to him on a lot of things because he was more experienced than I am. So a lot of the problems in which I had is I never had a father figure in my life when growing up. He was the one who was doing a lot of that in terms of mentoring me and my little brother, So I'm asking this because I want to understand, because a lot of times when a person starts using psychedelics, a lot of us, we go and turn the blame to the parents, and sometimes even the people they start blaming themselves as well, because they're looking at all these things they could have done. Oh, I should have done this, or could have done this. And as a society, we look at your parents and we go, maybe or you failed as parents, And I love the conversation that we had earlier, and I hope Uguti will be able to break it down as we go on the show, as to say that you've made a very valid point when we started talking earlier, Uguti. A lot of the times, although there's no manual of how a person is gonna act when they grow up, So you've made mention with your brother, you looked up to him most of the time. So how was your relationship with your brother? Rather, pardon my speech. How was your relationship with your brother? As you saying, Guti, he was able to do a lot of things better than you. So your relationship, Mansako.
It was quite a normal one, right? I don't know, it was quite a normal one. So when I say that I looked up to him, or I still do, I mean, in a sense, Yoguti, like I mentioned prior, that I lacked a sense of belonging. So my brother would do certain things, and when he does those things, he gets validation from my parents. Then therefore I see was, okay, this is right, and I can tell, okay, maybe how I'm doing things is wrong. So therefore I would look up to him as the light in most cases, to say, what, maybe if I do that, like for instance, there's an organization that I'm in, and I only joined it because he did, and trust me, it's the best thing I've ever done. Politics, soccer, you mentioned it, best thing, right? Only because I saw him do them, very beneficial to him. He does them very well. He's always determined in doing things. So I'm like, if ever I can't find who I am, or rather maybe I feel a little bit lost, at least he is what I can look up to.
Hey, no, that is beautiful. So you've made mention of what you lack the sense of belonging, right?
Yes.
And with that, it's not something that anyone can contribute in. That's a self, that's a journey of self, that it's only you who can bring yourself to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. So what I want to know particularly is that as you're saying, Gucci, you went to primary school and high school, and you've made mention when we started talking earlier, Gucci, you've lacked a lot of self belong. You never had any sense of belonging, particularly because there's certain things in your life which you wish to do better and which you couldn't do. So you told me, Guti, you went to primary school, you were a good kid, and then you said things started changing when you're at high school. You said you started meeting friends in which introduced you to certain behaviors. So for a typical person, Yangami, I don't know any of that, So can I kindly understand from your perspective? Because we always read about peer pressure, but we don't really, we're not really told what peer pressure looks like. We're told, Guti, it's friends influencing you to do this, but when the theory and practicality is not always the same. So you're talking to a kid who's gonna go through this in high school, or they're going through this and they don't understand what it is, right? So you went into high school. The first time you saw, or the first time you were able to see what peer pressure looks like. Can you kindly tell me, Guti, in which state, or can you kindly rather tell me and explain to me, Guti, yaqala kanjani yonke lento le to use then sing ukuthi, okay, oh, this is actually the peer pressure they're talking about.
So I think for me, peer pressure looks like fitting in. Not necessarily that these people will, maybe, I don't know, force you into doing things that you want to do,
Mhm.
but it comes with desiring a kind of lifestyle, maybe because these people are fitting in some way, so therefore you feel like if you are part of them or if you look like it, then you will fit in some way. So
Mm.
peer pressure looks like that. It looked like that for me.
I think a lot of kids are warned enough at school, maybe even at home, about this, the effect of peer pressure.
No, no, and I feel like it's such a broad conversation, when you speak about that, because um we only speak about how you said kamele uziphathe kanje esikoleni, so how you're supposed to, but I don't think like we teach enough about things that you're actually supposed to be aware of and very careful of.
Mm.
Things like it's okay not to be accepted, because that's where the problem comes in.
Mm.
Therefore, when you feel like you're not accepted, or when you feel like you need to change certain things about you because you
Mm.
don't fit in,
Yeah.
right? And your parents can't give you that. These are things that you grow into. That's why I was adolescence, because there are certain things that develop and grow within you, your confidence, your self-esteem. You mention it,
Mm.
right? So those things do impact how your life might be shaped in terms of influence and in terms of the things that you desire.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
And you've made a very valid point when we started talking earlier on. You said that we are taught as a collective, but we experience it individually.
Yeah.
Can you kindly break that down for me, for a typical person who really doesn't understand that? As to say that yes, we're taught together with peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure might look like this, but you said it come in a lot of forms, and we're
Yeah.
taught. Yes, we're taught collectively, but you experience this thing alone.
Yeah.
So for you, how did that look like?
Yeah, it kind of feels like, when you do theory and you do practicals, two different things, right?
Yeah.
We get taught all of these things, and as a collective, and those are amazing support systems. I love it, right?
Mm.
It's beautiful because we are all aware, but we are not taught how, to keep the stature in terms of being able to discipline yourself when these things are here. Because at the end of the day, now you are alone. That support, that crowd isn't there anymore. Now it's an individual thing. It's your personal decisions. It's who you are as a person.
Mm.
It's no longer about, okay, because he said no to drugs, so I'm saying no. No, it's about you individually. How do you resonate to the situation? Because
Mm.
remember, it's a lot of different things that bring us to those places, right? So how,
Eh.
if I'm at Rags Island and there's 10 people, according to where we are in life and according to who we are and according to how we understand, according to our background, so bonaka looks is actor ganjan,
Mm.
but information is as a collective.
Mm. And I think that is true, and I think that is true because I think right now in the world, I think we're living in a very, very bad state. Is to say that a lot of people are now using psychedelics, and at
Yeah.
times we might be blaming them because abanye babona ethaveni kuyabanda uhleli phansi umuntu uyagodola omunye umthole ekhoneni uyabhema ungcolile. At times we often look at what they're doing and we're not looking to see what feeling is that actually giving them,
Yeah.
because a lot of them, they're not really chasing lento esibabona bayenza. They're chasing the feeling that comes with it.
Yeah.
So you've made mention when we started talking ukuthi it all changed for you when you got into a relationship. Can you kindly tell us, for someone, for a typical human being, right? Because abazali abaningi, they still have the traditional way of
Yeah.
grooming kids, as to say ukuthi uzojola mawushada,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of that has caused ukuthi a lot of the kids are now afraid to even open up to their parents and tell them ukuthi, hey mom, I've started dating. And they're not abazali, they can't even advise their kids because abantwana bayasaba ukukhuluma, hence
Yeah.
bayivalela ngaphakathi. So for you, at least on your side, right? Can you kindly let me know, Guti, when did everything change in your life where the young into now started changing? How did it start changing?
Yeah, like parents can, teach us about how you're not supposed to date, and that's beautiful, right? Because it's guidance. That's how now that I'm a parent, I understand that that's how you protect your child, right? But also, if you're not careful enough, that's gonna be a barrier between you and them. Because respectfully, if you tell your, umntwana, you're not supposed to be dating, they're gonna respect that. It means they're gonna hide it, right? That's what happens. So I think also for me in just how it happened, because I had no knowledge whatsoever what a relationship could be. I was just lost in the moment of finding new love and, taking drastic decisions according to my temporary feelings at that time.
Then just like that, everything changed. And I think it's primarily important, right? Because we live in a time where we are told not to do certain things. But I love what you just said right now, is to say, Guti, we're taught this thing as a collective. God using and the reason why a lot of people end up using psychedelics,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are not talking about what they're going through, because I've read a quote once, and it blew my mind. They said, we are a set generation with happy pictures.
Yeah.
Then that is to say, Guti, a lot of us look happy, but on the contrary, we are not. And hence a lot of people, they end up drowning in addiction, as myself I did, and I know, Guti, I've went through down that path, and I know how it felt, because I was going through difficulty at the time. And when I went to school at the time, people would say, no, you don't do this, and happily we say, however,
Yeah.
so we won't respond the same way to the data. So I want us to go to the first time you started using, the first time you tested the substance, or you tried rather the substances. What was happening at the time? Can you kindly let me know?
Yeah, I just got introduced to the drugs, like I mentioned before, that I met this guy and only to find out to pay my drugs, and he introduced me to them, and that's how everything started. Yeah.
So that's how everything started. So for somebody who doesn't know, for a person who has no clue, right? As to say, because with me, I don't think it's rocket sciences, right? Just to say that you can meet this person, then boom, 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 it just happens.
Yeah.
So as you say, Guti, now it was your first time in a relationship at the time. So what changed? Because you come from a household, as you're saying, with your parents were strict, and they tried as hard as they can, as much as they could.
Yes.
So you were a well-groomed kid. So kuze yonke into ishintshe drastically how it did. What do you think yini ya-influencer lokho kuze yonke into ishintshe kanjalo?
I think like I mentioned before we started that, just lack of self, right? There's a lot of different it's the circumstance, which you are in, which will eventually determine what you become. Like, for instance, me not really understanding myself, or rather not understanding who I am or what purpose is for me or what I'm even meant to be. It was easy for me to fall for something that seemed like love. Like, for instance, this did not only start with love, right? It did not only start with drugs. It started with love. It started with feeling acceptance, right? So when I felt that, and this person was like, what's this and this and this, I was not hesitant. I felt like, why not? I wanted to give it a shot. It's always like, just try once, and eventually you're hooked.
Then just like that, everything started changing. So you said you used for the first time, and instantly you felt like you were introduced to a whole new world.
Yeah.
Can you kindly tell me? Because with me, I for a typical person like me, I only read about these things, and I only see articles, I only see videos of people that are doing this. So if hearing it from the horse's mouth, from a person who's actually been down this road, ishintshe kanjani impilo yakho the first time that you used?
It changes a lot. Like, almost everything about you changes. Your behavior, how you think, the most important things in your life, but more than anything, it comes to destroy, if anything, because, things that are as important as your family, things that are as important as school, things that are meant to develop you mentally, emotionally, physically as a human being, those things drugs demean the purpose of everything that's good in your life. So how everything changed was that, I lost interest in doing the right things. I developed behaviors, traits, bad traits, disrespect, attitude, all of those things. So yeah, it changed drastically, because also Nami personally, as a human being, I changed to myself. I became a stranger to myself as well, while changing to the people outside. It starts from the inside all the time.
So, was your mom able to pick it up? To pick up why now the drastic behavioral pattern that are changing now, as to say there's disrespect now, there's this. Was your mom able to see? It's no, there's something which is wrong here.
Yeah, she did, because there were times where she'd sit me down and talk to me and tell me, this is what's happening, angkuze kahle, but she didn't know why I was acting like that. She didn't know the source to my behavior at that time. So regardless of ukuthi ungikhuze kanjani, it just really never got to me.
You've made mention ukuthi you left school.
Yes.
Can you kindly let us know? Because I want you to take me on a journey of thought, right? Because with me, I'm trying to understand your viewpoint. As to say, then it started, you meet this guy you tried for the first time. Then just like that, brick after brick, this one knocked that one down, that one, until everything was down. So kindly let me know, from the first time to it affecting you leaving school, to then later leaving home, can you kindly let me know how all of that went down?
All right. So I did drugs for I think a whole year when I first met. Yeah, after meeting this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But during that year, I think a few months prior, I left school because I then felt like I didn't need to be here. I didn't understand the purpose of even being at school. So I had no interest or whatsoever in being in school. So I left school, right? My parents tried to stop me there, but it just didn't work. I mean, like I mentioned before, it can only get as far. I was already addicted, already you're not speaking to me. So it wouldn't have made sense. It moves on and on and on, and then I leave home now because I then felt like the more bankuza, the more like they used to ground me, going out. That felt like a trap, So I was like, you know what, I need to be free, and I left home.
So when you leave school, you were still staying at home at the time you left school. So what does your mom say? Mom decide to go to, nah, I'm leaving school now. What does your mom say at the time?
We did not communicate about it. We did not communicate about it. I just did whatever I felt like doing at that time because the company around me and the influence allowed me to do so. So I quit. I felt like I need no validation from her. I know what makes me feel like I'm better, and I want to remain there. So therefore, whatever she said at the time didn't matter.
Wow. So you leave home. What is the conversation that you have with your parents? Or you just abruptly left? Kindly let me know, Guti. Prior to you leaving home, as you said, Guti, there were times now that you felt that these people, they're grounding me now, they're reprimanding me. Hey, why are you doing this and that? You started to feeling that these people are against you.
Yeah.
They're against you trying to get this feeling in which is making you feel wholesome.
Yeah.
So you left home. Did your parents ever try to what attempt did your parents actually do to try to bring you back home?
They spoke to me, bang shayide, bang landile lang corner. There's nothing they didn't do. They did everything. Or they did everything.
So then that happens. You get to a point where you leave school, you leave home, and you've mentioned that all of that happened while you're in the 9th grade. And 9th grade, you're still in a position where we look at you and we're still seeing a rookie, You're still a freshman at school, it's high school, you're still fresh from primary school where they were teaching you books before boys, all of those things. So you say, Guti, when you got to high school, you found a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
You got to go in a place in your life where finally you felt like you belonged somewhere. So with all of that happening, and as you've made mention as well, Guti, you found a sense of belonging, right? So uma kwenzeka yonke lento leyo, you now move to this guy, how does your life change after that?
it changes a lot because now I'm no longer in contact with my family. I'm no longer going to school. It's just me and just this life that I've chosen to live. So I've just given and surrendered to that life. That's exactly what happens. You lose yourself, right? It's like giving yourself as a sacrifice.
So you spoke about you now living with the guy full time, and you spoke about the drug in which you're using at the time was crystal meth, and you're not sleeping at the time. So what I want to understand is that you left school now. You're no longer living at home. So now you no longer have imali, as to say that you told me that you were using even imali yakho yokera.
Yes.
As to say that mabaknikezile imali lunch at home, you take that money and go and buy the drugs with it in order for you to get closer to the feeling in which you actually got. So you're no longer having money now coming in. How are the dynamics now? How do you make it work at the time?
Yeah, besides just in general, how when you've never lived something or when you've never experienced something, it was quite a new one. Because I realized that, okay, for men it's different. So men have their own survival traits and they know how to do things like you mentioned all those criminal activities.
Yeah.
And when it comes to women, which I was quite shocked, is a lot of women will sell their bodies. They will just in exchange. So that's what happens. So Mina at that time, the guy that I was living with, he was my boyfriend. So he would go and say whatever he's doing just to sustain our addiction.
And all of that happens, you're with this guy, and now it clicks in your mind. You could say, oh, in order for us to try and get a fix, for this addiction that we have, there are certain criminal activities in which you have to do. And you told me, Gutsi, at a certain point in your life, you had to partake in some of them. So is there one in which you still remember vividly, one that you once joined him on? Okay, I had Gutsi get around in night.
I wasn't really like too much involved, and one of their job would be they would protect us. I don't want to lie, so we would not be in these things a lot. But I still remember just this one day where I think right next door, the house that we lived in, they just left to somewhere, and for some weird reason, criminals always know. They knew that she was leaving, and I did not know that. So around 5 in the morning, people like Nyabizwa ngaphandle, now we have to carry those to furniture right next door, and more than that would happen. There were times where they'd come back with certain things and you could just tell this is stolen items,
just for you to sustain that
the addiction.
So you said there was a turning point which changed everything. You said it was the first time you saw a person, the first time you saw a dead person in front of you. So kindly tell me the day that the mob approached you. What was happening that day? So that day we were walking home. Like I mentioned that we do not sleep at all. We were walking home, so we meet this group of people and they are approaching me aggressively, violently, specifically saying to me that, mangas keep listening, I am going to die like this person. So right there, I was like, no, this is not me. So, but luckily enough, by the grace of God, a man came out from nowhere and told them that I was pregnant, so they should let me go. And I didn't know I was pregnant at that time. So that on its own was just so divine that I just was like, no, this is like a door open for me. And if I don't walk out of here, I will die. So that happens. Where do you go? As you say, Gutsi, from there and then you decided to say, I'm done. I'm out. And you said it was around 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So where do you go around that time?
Home. I went home. I 100% know I had a home, and I knew my mom would do anything for me to come back, So I went home. Yeah.
So you get home, your mom welcomes you.
Yeah.
How is the conversation now? What do you say the first day that you're now back at home? What's the conversation that you have with your mom?
So yeah, I slept like the normal, and then we woke up, and then we just had a conversation about I want to relocate, and then I think we did that the same day, if not the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, with you, it sounds fairly easy, you know, but there's someone out there who's like, Sibongile, you don't understand. Lo muntu lona, we've given them countless opportunities, and they came back like Kaya numerous times. Basitshela ukuthi, hey, I've changed. Then after that, lo muntu uzotshontsha izinto zethu la ekhaya, ahambe aphinde abuya athi ushintshile and do the same thing. Maybe you don't understand. So with you, what is it that your family did that helped you rather rehabilitate yourself quicker than normal?
Yes, you see, but the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. Ngokuthanda nje. But just loving you, you know. So when I came back, so now we're speaking about the recovery stage.
Yeah.
When I went back home, my parents did not give me any sort of, because nothing is be said, and they saw how determined I was. You know, there are people who are not, and it's okay to know when to let go. But me, I was so determined, and I also showed them, you know, I earned their trust more than anything else. It wasn't like just easy, but I earned it. You know, I was home all the time. You know, I was the Sibongile that they knew before that. You know, so they didn't didn't lock the doors. They showed me that they trusted me. So when they showed me that, it revived me as a person. You know, it made me feel like, oh, okay, now I really have to show up, because these people are trusting me after everything I've done to them. You know. Yeah.
So that happens. Did you ever have any trouble with did you ever have any trouble when you're rehabilitating yourself in terms of relapsing? You know, because I mean this, because with me, at least on my side, right, there were times where I told myself I was doing it for the last time.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I did it for the last time in my life. It's not meant to be funny, but I remember I used to do it every day, and I would say I'm doing it for the last time. I would do it each and every day consistently and feel bad after, and promise myself that I'm never doing it again, but I know that tomorrow I'll be doing it again.
You know, this is also a religious book. Sipo, you are only a human being. Allow the process. Honestly speaking, there's nothing more than that. You know, you don't know why you are going through certain stuff. You know, I don't want to stand here and say it is through your strength that you can now just wake up on an addiction and say no. We have noticed how people have lost themselves through that. We have noticed how, if there's nobody, God will just send somebody from nowhere to just assist you, you know. So to people who are like, you know, I'm trying, you know, I do advise, continue to try. Eventually it will stop. For as long as your mental and your emotional is set, this is what I want to, I'm stopping, this is what I do. Eventually you will receive the help. You know, you can't rush it. It's not a planned thing. How many people have planned rehab and still relapsed? You know, I did not plan rehab and I didn't relapse. As things to allow yourself to go through. People don't want to hear that, but I'm telling you, you need to allow the process, because like I said, life does not have a formula. You don't get to choose things. You don't get to choose those things, you know, but it's about who you can become after going through those things. I wrote a book after going through those things, you know, but there were people who were not patient enough with me, saying, you know, it's 3 years, forget about her, disown her. Why? I'm still a human being. Am I not a human being now? Why are we supposed to label it as dead only because you're doing drugs? You might not have went through addiction, but trust me, that struggle right there, it killed you. It caused you to become who I am mentally. The only difference is that you can see me. You know, something somewhere kills us somewhere. If you don't kill me, it will kill you. But we are always into something that is meant to destroy us. But it's about who we become after. And we need each other. we're living in a society where now it's you're on your own because your decision. There are situations in life where you realize if it was not for that mother, if it was not for that brother, I wouldn't be here, because that's how life it's meant to be. We need to help each other. We are there for a reason. It's purpose. You are meant to be there. There's nothing we can do. Other things are just meant to be a journey. I cannot it's easier for me to tell you this and for you to learn it because I'm speaking from my mouth. But it's another different thing when somebody who doesn't even know anything akhuluma ngayo, because at least now it's sharper. It's coming from an experience, not nje. I might have went through it. For other 4 people, who knows? It's a journey. But if other people felt like, no, what you were doing is wrong, it's okay. But it helped me. You understand? All I'm saying is patience towards other people, because our purposes are not the same. And who are we to judge?
And you've made mention, Uguti. Oftentimes, your mom would come to check up on you. Sometimes just to say she loves you.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Just to come and say, hey, I love you.
As is, if God forbid, I wake up tomorrow and I do not have a mother, I will know that woman played her role. Not in being a mother, no. I will know that she gave me a second chance in life. More than iskolo, patala, ama fees. I'm not speaking about material things. I'm speaking about life. By just loving me, she did that.
So, do you think parents can do something better? Because there are a lot of parents now, there are a lot of families which are going through this, that are saying, umtanetu, sazama, numerous times, got to ask kon. Is there anything they could have done better? Is there something they can do better, rather, to try and assist this person who's going through this journey of psychedelics?
Like I mentioned before, Sipo, that you can only do so much. One thing for sure, I feel like people at home must understand that you need to prioritize yourself as well. Don't drown with somebody. The Bible says that 2 cannot walk together unless they agree. And angeke uzohambe nomuntu ongaboni. Wena obonayo kuzomela ukuthi act like it, show it. Because if a person is in addiction, these people are barely themselves. They're not themselves at all. So you're dealing with something completely different. Prioritize yourself because you are sober and know when to stop. But more than anything, give love and don't let it affect you. Because we are understand uthi udila nan, unlike somebody who does not understand what they are dealing with, right? And more than anything, let your perspective not change of who they are. They are still your child. Don't disown them. Don't create that reality for them. Because imagine had my mom created that reality, we wouldn't have been able to see this. Prioritize yourself also. Know when to stop, Know when to let them go. Know when to just lock the door, not let them in. It's okay. It's okay.
But you just said now, Uguti, what your parents did for you was, Uguti, they never gave up on you.
Yeah.
It has been 3 years. Let's say there's someone out there who's going through the same thing. God doubts me, I've had enough. Is it advisable for them to just let go?
No. Why? No.
But as you're saying right now, you're saying, Uguti,
when I say choose yourself and prioritize yourself, I mean your emotional being. Educate yourself. Understand who they are. If I'm dealing with a mental unstable person, I cannot be reacting how they are reacting because I understand who they are. So me prioritizing myself is me not allowing them to get to me, but understanding that this is a different situation that I cannot control. That's where prioritizing yourself and caring for yourself comes in. Because parents beat themselves up. Parents blame themselves. Parents want to fight. We are kala and jalo. You need to take a step back and prioritize yourself as well.
So all of that happens. you're saying that you grew up in a household of where we had both parents, and I hear you speaking a lot about mom, your mom this, your mom that.
Yeah.
So with your dad, at the time, how did that affect your relationship with your dad?
Yeah, well, for some time it did affect our relationship because there was a time where we were not talking at all for like I think that whole 3 years, if not 2, we were not talking at all. So it did affect us because I don't want to say I'm my dad's favorite, but it looks like a lot of people,
Daddy's girl.
So we have a very close bond, and my dad does not speak a lot, but I would hear how affected he got. I would hear how, this affected him. But I don't want to lie. Me and my dad have never had a conversation whereby we confronting the issue or whatsoever. But after I wrote the book, there was once a time where, he just spoke to me, he told me that, he didn't understand what I was going through and all of that.
You told me, Guti, there's another world at night. A different world, different than the one that we actually know. Can you kindly tell me a little bit about that?
I meant people are busy, are they? There is another world, in terms of, people are busy at night, people are doing crime, people are planning at night, people are, doing all sorts of terrible things, so these things do not usually happen during the day, like I mentioned to you that with crystal meth you don't sleep, so if anything, when you are awake and when you're doing activity and you're doing whatever, it's in the night.
And then all of that happens in your life, right? And you're looking at the journey that you've went through, and with you, when you went through psychedelics, it's something that just happened like this. You met this guy, after meeting this guy you started, and then drugs took you to the place you always wanted to be, at peace, having a sense of belonging, not wanting to fit in but being happy and comfortable in your own skin, right? And then just like that you fell for it. And then it went on for 3 long years. So did you have any problems with you now finding yourself, you're now in a point in your life where you want to relapse? How is your rehabilitation process?
So I'd like to confidently say I went in a journey with God, because at that time I started reading the Bible more. I started I knew myself in Christ. If you don't know who God is, then I feel like you can never know who you are. So I felt like that's where I found my sense of identity, which is why my recovery became better, because I didn't understood who I am. I didn't understood I don't need drugs. I understood I don't need anybody. I didn't understood that I am enough on my own, right? So what I would do in most cases, speaking for anybody who'd like to do it practically, I drank a lot of water. Lots of water every day. So that detoxed a lot. It helped a lot, and I did a lot of praying. So that was my rehabilitation. It was exactly like that.
Yeah. So you wrote a book.
Yeah.
And the purpose of you writing this book was to tell someone who's going through the same thing that you went through, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, you might not see it now, and it's fine. And I love that.
It's fine.
You said it's fine. You might not see it now, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hey, I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've made mention when you opened the show, which sometimes as a person who is ill, all that you want from the medicine is the healing and none of its taste.
Exactly.
Right. So on your book, on the book that you wrote, there's actually note to every victim.
Yes.
The topic or the chapter that you actually wrote here on top. Note to every victim.
Yeah.
But before I read what you wrote here, what I want us to do is that we need to let's talk to parents.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the victims that are going through this thing. Ngoba ngesinye isikhathi we might overlook that and think ukuthi yonke into right. Nah, it's fine, everything is okay. kanti eqinisweni these people, although sebadlulile kuyona, or some are still going through it now, they're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, and yes, as you when you say it, it sounds easy. You know, God, I'm the one who's feeling this. I'm the one who's going through this in my life at the moment. So for that parent who's like, Sibongile, you don't really understand, dog. You know, I'm hurting. I saw my child deteriorate in front of me, and I could do nothing about it. Well, what would you say to that person? Oti, I don't know. I've lost all sense to be, man.
You don't have to see the line. Do you think if anybody at that time told me, Uti, after 30 years you would have written a book, do you think I would have believed that? I wouldn't have believed any of that. You know, I did not see light coming either way as well. You know, so if you are not hopeful, what of me? I was able to go back home because my mother expressed the hope even when I didn't. If my mother did not act the way she did, do you think I would have ran back home, or I would have probably went somewhere else to hide and went back to that life again? But because she was able to receive me, you can't lose hope. At this point, if you love them as much, you cannot afford to lose hope. You losing hope is you killing them. You cannot afford to lose hope. This is your family. This is blood. You know, we cannot, we can only fall as much in life. You know, I would have liked to do a demonstration. You know, it's different when you fall and you fall alone. But when you have three other more people, you can fall, but you will not fall as deep as you would have fallen had they not been there. So we need each other like that. So all I'm saying is that to the guidance, to the parents, I understand what you're going through. And I understand that you might not see light, but it is important that you remain hopeful. Remaining hopeful means believing for something that you cannot see. That's you being hopeful. So you cannot afford to lose that. You can't say, you cannot afford to do that. If you cannot die for the person, live for the person.
Let's talk to those people that are going through that hardship. What would you say to them?
I would say to them, it's a journey. It's a long one. You know, it requires a lot from you. It requires a lot of sacrifices. It will break you. It will be in pain, like I mentioned. That it's not an easy one. A road to discipline is not an easy one. It's going to be a rough one. It will require patience, love, and like I mentioned, hope. So what I'd say, Kai, is that we all have our own personal journeys. We need to believe in each and every one of us because we are interacted like this for a reason. I am in your life, you are in my life for 100% reason. You know. So just remain hopeful.
Remain hopeful and trust in God. You've been tuned into the News Talk Show with Sibongile Mazibuko. And for me, at least, this has been one educational episode. And though we're not able to cover everything due to time, she has meetings to run to. I hope that the next time we sit, we'll be talking the solution-based part of this, because you've went through the hardship. You know, you were faced with difficulty, and you stand in witness today as to say, I've been there.
True.
I have been in a place in my life where bengashuthi ngizobala ngikhona manje kodwa ngikhonile because God was there to assist me.
True.
You know, so there's someone there who's like, okay, Sister Sibongile, I want to know more about you, or maybe I would like to read the book in which you have written. So how can people get the books, and where can people get in touch with you?
So I have a Facebook handle. I'm not a social media person, but you can contact me at my account handle is Sibongile Mananatladi.
Okay.
That's in Facebook. Thank you.
If they wanted, they should contact you directly on Facebook at Sibongile Mananatladi. Okay. You've been tuned into the Nita Talk Show with Classico Merc. If you've made it this far, you're a real one. And because of you, we are able to continue doing what we are doing. We thank you for all the support in which you're giving us. because of you, we are able to continue pushing forward, having these conversations that today's society is deems them boring, unfashionable, because we are trying to find healing for those people that are recognizing and realizing that their lives and there's certain help in which they need in order for them to try and push their lives a little bit forward. So through your subscriptions and supporting the channel, we'll be able to keep on bringing individuals to the show with such stories, because a lot of us are struggling silently, but we don't have to do that again. Through the Needed Talk Show, I hope that we'll be able to find healing. As I always say, I hope no one is watching, but if you are, I hope that you share this to your friends and make other people and make this information known to other people, because there might be someone on the other side or other end of the screen who needs to hear this. So if you're one of us, we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.